With the RV Advisor's Roadside Assistance Plan, we've got you covered for just $99 per year. Visit thervadvisor.com today.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. My guests today are Jenn and Kyle, and they are the Bethunes, and their site, where you can follow them, Instagram and YouTube and all that, is Red, White, and Bethune. And they're speaking to us today from Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
How you doing, guys?
Good. Thank you for having us. How are you, Tom?
Doing great. Doing wonderful, thank you. And, it's, I've got one of the colors on, I guess, from Red, White, and Bethune. I wasn't sure which one to go with, but...
The main one, I like it. Red brings out your eyes. You look good.
Oh, yeah, especially after a long night. So, Middle Tennessee, and I think you said you're getting a little work done on you're at the mechanic right now.
Yeah, everybody needs a little work done from time to time, and
Yeah.
our bus is no different. We had some turbo issues going up mountains and stuff, and our bus is a 1983, so she's been around the block a couple times.
It
We're
sounds it. Wow.
Yep, getting our turbo replaced because we have a 6V92 Detroit motor, and not a lot of people can work on those things. So you have to be very specific on who you go to.
I see. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you have like a couple of go-to folks, I guess, around the country or wherever, you know where to go. And that's, I'll tell you that you bring up an interesting point, because that's actually really, kind of critical. When you do encounter certain issues with maintenance or just general fixing things up, you got to know who you're going to, right? I mean, who you going to trust, right?
Right, for sure. Especially on a bus, these older buses, there's just not a lot of people that work on them anymore. And it goes for all RVs. You got to be careful who you let look at it, because it's anybody can claim to be a mechanic, but it's, you know what I mean. So.
That's right. I've run into that problem with doctors. It's like they've claimed to be a doctor, but I'm no, I'm kidding. They're doctors. So let me ask you. Middle Tennessee, is that close to where you are? Maybe you have a base, or where do you guys generally call home?
So we actually just bought a piece of property a couple months ago in Cosby, Tennessee, which is about 12 miles west of North Carolina in Tennessee. Okay. And so we're actually planning on making that a home base and a campground. So we're going to put in like 10 sites. My brother-in-law is going to run it for us so we can still be nomads, but we'll have a home base, in case anything happens and we just want to go back there.
Gotcha. Now in the background, we see our furry friend. We learned earlier, you've got, how many dogs do you have? You got four. Four dogs. Earlier, before we came on, we met Kevin.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And now looks like we got somebody else there.
That's Theodore. Yep.
Oh,
and then we've got another one.
Wow.
This is Eloise.
I love these great, it's not just like, Spot and Fido here. We're talking, these are like real human names. Kevin.
Yeah.
I love that. It's just terrific. That's terrific. So Theodore, Eloise, Kevin, and who's the fourth?
Chico. He's a Chihuahua, but he's napping right now.
He's napping. Yeah, Chico must do all the hard work. That's why he needs a nap.
He does.
Yeah, I got you. So full-time RVers, and you've got a family of 5. I was on the Instagram page, and boy, you guys get around. You're doing a lot. It looks like you guys really have a fun time out there, living life as nomads. I think that's probably true, right?
We do. It's stressful, but it's stress-free. our backyard changes. We move about every week to every 2 weeks. We try to be in a different spot, because we want to see so much. We launched in March of 2020. And so we moved into our bus and put our house on the market, and then COVID happened, and we stayed at his parents' farm in Florida. We're originally from Florida.
Oh, whereabouts in Florida are you from?
Tampa Bay area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're on the other coast. We're over in the Fort Lauderdale area.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So we hit the road officially in August of 2020. So we've been to California already, back over to Florida for the holidays, and now we're up in Tennessee.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you're getting around. And I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break because I want to find out some of the highlight spots that you've enjoyed visiting in the last few months or year or so. So let's find out, and we'll find out a little bit more about that bus too from 1983, closing in on 40 years old. That is, it needs some sort of an award or something. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're speaking with Jenn and Kyle Bethune, and they are Red, White, and Bethune. We'll be back in just a moment.
The RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of the RV owners. We'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality control is in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org.
We are back on the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. My guests are Jenn and Kyle Bethune, Red, White, and Bethune. You can catch them on Instagram, YouTube. They've got a big Facebook presence. You guys are everywhere. Before we talk about some of the hot spots that you visited along the way, I'm always fascinated by how quickly the interest in these sites on Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube and so forth, they really catch on because we know that the RV community is just one giant family, it seems, and very supportive of each other. And were you surprised when you started to see all these numbers pile up beyond just friends and relatives? All of a sudden you see, Mr. and Mrs. Front Porch from Oklahoma following you. What did you think?
Well, I mean, I've always, the goal was to set out to inspire people to live a life they want to wake up to every day. Yeah. And it may look like RVing, it may look like living in the city, it may look like living in the country, but we just want people to, if they have a dream, to go out and do it. And I think that's why the numbers grow, because we're real. We're just real people. We show you what it's actually like to RV with children, and it is not all rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome life. And I think a lot of people, we have so many fans that are even from the UK and overseas. And even in America, the majority of the people that follow us are ones that live in stick and bricks houses that really wish one day that they could do full-time RVing.
Right. It is something that you can do. It's not age centric, if you will. You can do things. You could start when you're young, like you folks, and get out there, and then people more my age, and then there's folks that are in their 70s, that are out there doing it for the first time. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think a lot of people perceive it to be a retiree activity or lifestyle, but it's really changing a lot.
Yeah, I think, originally that's kind of what, the way it started, but to our surprise, it's a massive community just with families alone, and we've ran, especially being in Florida in the winter like we met, there was just
Hundreds.
Thousands of families, and it really is a large community, and it's growing more every day.
Yeah. And I'm sure the kids, you've got some young kids, and I'm sure that for them, they run into other kids their age and build friendships, and that's got to be really cool to watch.
Well, what's cool is that in different parts of the country, our country's very culturally diverse, and our
Sure.
kids are learning different things that other kids are learning in other parts of the country. And it also helps them in saying goodbye. Goodbyes tend to be really hard for kids
Sure.
and adults. And this way, it's not goodbye, it's see you later, because we'll see you on down the road. They're able to build these friendships and see people come and go. So it's not so hard when they get to be an adult.
Yeah, exactly. It's often not goodbye. It's so long for now.
Right.
And we'll like you said, we'll catch you on the flip side. Okay, so speaking of all this travel, I mean, there's got to be a few highlights. Maybe more than a few, but give us a couple that was really special. And maybe for yourselves, and then for the kids.
Yeah, like we said, we started in Florida and kind of made our way up to about the middle of the country, and pretty much went across through Missouri, Kansas, and then we ended up spending about a month in Colorado. And Colorado is just a magical, beautiful place. You just can't find a bad view anywhere. We were in
Very true.
We were in the Salida area for a while, and we ended up having a snowstorm in the middle of September, and that was pretty memorable because we're like, what the heck? We didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, especially being from Florida.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, we were actually boondocking when we saw the weather. Okay, it's going to snow. They're pretty confident it's going to snow. So we ended up finding a campground within Salida in the town, and that way we could have hookups and have the security of, the hookups and the water while it's snowing. So we ended up doing that, and we got through it. I'm not going to say it was fun, but our first snow experience in the bus wasn't a terrible one.
Yeah.
No, it was about 12 inches of snow. So that was.
It snowed quite a bit.
But in September, it's still a little bit of a little culture shock, I guess, or weather shock, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have clothes prepared. I mean, we had nothing prepared. Like, it was just a scramble down to the minute. It only lasted about 2 or 3 days, and it was melted and gone. But
well, it's interesting because I remember years and years ago, I was watching a Monday night football game. It's got to be from the 80s. Watching a Monday night football game, and Denver was playing, and it was September.
Yeah.
And it was like a blizzard. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, what? And that's when I really became aware how fickle or whatever, the weather could be in that part of the country. I have a friend who lives, just recently moved to Wyoming, just up the road from Denver, not too far, about a 90-minute ride. He's near Cheyenne, actually.
Okay.
And it is schizophrenic weather. I mean, you go one day it's 80 degrees, the next day it's 17. It's like, what? How do you ever get used to that? Yeah. But they do. People love it, I guess. It's predictably unpredictable. So what else? What have the kids really gotten a kick out of?
The kids, shockingly enough, their favorite stop was Las Vegas. Like, they thought it was so cool. We got married in Vegas back in 2008. And so we were able to take them to the chapel that we got married at. Right. And I mean, they love seeing all the lights and the inside of the hotels. Like, they thought Vegas was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, if you're a light person, you're not going to be disappointed by Vegas, because that is really something else.
Yeah, we were there right when they were kind of just reopening Vegas, so it was really kind of dead. There was no one really there, so we could kind of walk around, and the streets were empty, and it was neat. They got to see a lot of that stuff that, they really enjoyed that.
Obviously this past year has been a challenge for everybody. We've talked about it with several folks that have come on the show, and to varying degrees, it affects people in the travel that they do and the plans that they have. Did you find that it did get in the way a lot, or were you able to kind of just get through it fairly to some degree with some, normal activity?
Well, we really didn't run into a whole lot of problems. Like friends of mine are calling and saying, hey, are you getting stopped between states to show your license? And I'm like, no, you just keep driving. And the only state that it was really kind of hindered things was California, because California's very shut down.
Yeah.
But our daughter did want to go to LA, and we were very close to being out there. So we ended up staying at a campground about an hour away from LA. And there were still people, there were still things to do, but it was just very different than what it would have been pre-COVID. That's something that we ran into.
Yeah, I mean, you spent quite a little bit of time in Utah, and I mean, it was, I'm not gonna say it was non-existent, but it wasn't a whole lot of difference, I don't feel like, than pre-COVID. So
Right.
I don't think it's, I know it affected a lot of people a lot worse than it did us, and we were very fortunate, but we didn't really run into a whole lot.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, and we know that it's certainly been more than a challenge for everybody, not just here in the States, obviously worldwide. It's been a thing. Hopefully we're slowly. I saw some numbers yesterday where there's a trend downward, which is good. So hopefully we continue that trend. That would be great. And I know we're all of us are longing for that day when we can just put it in the rear view and and live like we've been accustomed to.
For sure.
Yeah. So, well, listen, it's been a lot of fun talking to you, and it would be great to have you back again and see maybe, a view where you're in some special spot, and share that with us. That would be terrific. But the stories are great, and the mission is great. It's really, full-time RVing, to me is something that's just, I love talking to folks and doing this show with people who the mission is similar. It's like to inspire others. Yeah. And you guys do that. That's terrific. Your family of 5, and as it says here on your Instagram page, currently in Tennessee, and you, like you said, you bought a piece of property just west of the Carolina state line, which is really cool. Yep. And so the kids will have more room to run around and have fun. What are the age brackets? Where are they?
So Ben is 10 and Molly is 7 and Eli is about to turn 6 in a couple weeks.
Wow. Okay. So they're all pretty close. They're all pretty close. Yep. That's terrific. That's great. It is Red, White, and Bethune. It is that is where you can find them at Instagram, Bethune, Red, White, and Bethune. And it is Jenn and Kyle Bethune. Yep. And we really appreciate your time. Stay safe. Have great travels. Best to the family and all the dogs, all 4 of them. Can I remember their names? Well, Kevin, I'm never going to forget. That's a great one.
Kevin is unforgettable.
Kevin is unforgettable. And let's see. We have also Kevin and
Theodore.
We got Theodore. We got Eloise.
Yep.
And Chico.
Yep. See? 3 out of 4 is not bad.
Not bad. Not bad for an old man. There we go. Red, White, and Bethune. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, Jenn and Kyle. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for having us on.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast. We'll be back in just a moment. The RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of RV owners. With your help, we'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality controls in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org. We are back on the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander, and of course, I'm joined by our guest coordinator. It is Neve Carizacco. Hey, Neve.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Looks like you're in transit. You're in transit a lot, aren't you?
All the time. It's the only time I get some peace and quiet and I'm able to actually talk without the children driving me crazy.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Very, very.
There's a method to my madness.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we got the memo to wear red today, or
We
you
sure
know,
did. Yeah, it's funny.
I'm telling you, I don't know how that worked out, but somehow it's all the tumblers in the universe fell into place, and here we are.
It sure did. It
Yeah.
sure did. Yes.
So what's the latest? What's happening?
What is the latest? I think my main priority right now is our social media platform. Working really hard on it. And I would like to get some feedback from our followers, members, guests, followers of people that we've had on the podcast. So yeah, I'm working really hard right now and trying to figure out, obviously, Facebook it's a huge platform, but it's one that, obviously not dedicated to anything in particular. So this social media platform, we're excited that it's for RVers, it's for travelers and things like that, and it will greatly benefit them. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what if we're missing anything, what people would like to see and how they would like to use it. And yeah, so we're just going back and forth on that. We've got some great tips from people. People have been trying it out, logging in, uploading photos, and I think once it's launched, it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be really exciting that everyone can just find, and connect with similar situations and people in one spot. So yeah, that's my latest on that, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. One big sort of happy family on a kind of on one platform. Like you said,
For
Facebook's
sure.
awesome, and there's so many things you can do. But yes, you can go to specific groups and stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
But this is a platform strictly built for the RV community. So
correct.
It'll be
yes.
exciting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hugely beneficial.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you know what? I know that you're also working on some more guests, and again, we want to let our viewers know, members, guests, everybody know that if you're interested in sharing your story on the RV Advisor podcast, you can just you can write to Neve herself. So why don't you give the folks
Yeah.
your address?
Yeah, so it's ncarey, NCAREY, at thervadvisor.com. You can also find me on social media. I'm one of the people behind our social media platform. So the RV Advisor on Facebook or on Instagram, if you want to leave us a message there, we will happily get back to you. We are always looking for new people to be on our podcast.
Terrific. Well, Neve, thanks again for checking in.
And, of course.
We'll see you again next time right here.
See you soon.
On the RV Advisor podcast. For Neve Carey-Zacco, I'm Tom Alexander. So long, everybody.